Natasha.
Debbie.
Show.
The show.
Welcome to it. Just two patriotic girls.
Learning about the world.
So please, don't take us the wrong way.
I'm at a loss for words.
Ow! Ow! Come on!
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Ow.
For real.
Who put that there? Who put that there?
I don't know.
I got both legs.
You got both legs.
Mm.
All right. So, take 52.
No, we're not.
Welcome to the Natasha and Debbie show with special guest Ryan.
Hi.
I'm fine, thanks. I'm good.
I'm glad you made it in here. How was the trip?
Mhm.
Oh, old joke. Still kind of funny. I love you. Are you okay?
My legs aren't. I didn't trip everything. Yeah, hi, welcome to the show. I didn't know we were starting it off like this, but you know, whatever. We're so excited to have yet another guest on, we're gonna call it what, Guest Star Friday?
Guest Star Friday.
Only in January. And that is Ryan.
Hi.
Thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you for having me.
Is
I'm
it-
very excited.
Is it weird being in front of the camera?
It is. Absolutely.
So if you don't know,
Yeah, Ryan has been with us since the beginning of our show. She has done a lot of our filming out on site.
yeah, if you saw our About Us episode we did that's on the channel, our international market video,
Mhm.
and
And if you're on Patreon, Ryan does most of the filming for the Cooking with Debbie episodes.
when we started the show, I always asked Ryan her opinions and thoughts because she's young. I could be her freaking mother, but I do refer to her as my little sister.
Yes. You are my big sis.
I love it. And that's your other big sis.
Yes.
That's right. We are. We're
We are a
family.
cute little family. But we met Ryan from her dad, who's a good friend of ours. But Ryan's awesome. He's given a lot of really good feedback to us from the start of our show and helped us out with ideas and different things like that. So, hey, buddy, thank you again.
Thank you.
So, we are so excited to have you in front of the camera today. Now, you've learned with us quite a bit of stuff
Absolutely.
about the UK.
Yes.
And you're also an avid lover of all things UK, too.
Yes. I'm really excited to learn about your guys' history. You know, you guys take such good care of your heritage and history.
Mhm.
Very admirable.
And you
Mhm.
work in the history field, so this
I
is stuff
do.
that she loves. So today, what are we going to be doing, Ryan? What's the name of this one?
This is 8 surprising differences between the UK and the USA that aren't obvious.
Are they, though, or are they obvious?
We'll find out.
Yeah, because we've been doing this for a while, so this will be interesting to see if we actually learn something new for us. Now, this video is 2 years old, so we don't know. But before we do that, if you don't mind, hit that like button.
And also consider subscribing. And how much is it to subscribe, Ryan?
It is absolutely free.
We didn't rehearse that at all.
Not at all. And before we get into the video, I just want to make a quick mention here. The last time we had a guest star on, there were a couple comments about me sitting in the back.
Oh, yeah, don't put Debbie in
Sound
the
like
corner.
I was being left out of the video, but I feel like I am totally in this video. Besides, I don't want to have to push those buttons on the computer.
This is
That's
her
her
idea.
job.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be up here because, well, one, we tried it with me back there.
Yeah, cut her head off. Not so good. Not a good look.
It was bad. It was bad.
I'm short. I fit back here.
Without any further ado, let's check out these 8 maybe surprising differences between the UK and the US.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel.
Hello.
If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm an American who's lived in England for almost 10 years.
Cool.
And today I
Long
am
time.
going over 8 little known differences between the UK and the US. So I've gotten some positive feedback on my other videos about the differences between the UK and the US, but a lot of the things that people often talk about are pretty obvious. We know that
Right.
we
Sure.
drive on the different side of the road here, and you know, some basic language that people might use here that we've heard in the US in terms of like British movies and TV shows. But I really enjoy talking about the little nuanced things that you might not have realized are different.
Well, that should be good.
If you are interested in more UK versus US information or information about living abroad
I love
in
doing
the
the different
UK
stuff.
from somewhere else
Very
in the
cool.
world, definitely make sure to subscribe. That's how you'll get new videos and know that I've posted more. So the first difference between the UK and the US that people often don't talk about
See if we know it.
is that the keyboards are actually different.
What?
So
Hold
the
up.
UK keyboard doesn't have, it has the letter keys in the same exact places.
Okay.
But the UK keyboard is going to add in a pound sign, which we don't have in the US. Funnily enough, my UK keyboards do actually have a dollar sign as well.
Interesting.
And there are also a couple of other things that are in different places depending on the keyboard. Like the @ key is sometimes in a different place, and like
Even more interesting is that you have a dollar sign as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder why they have both and we don't.
Right.
Yeah, you would think it'd be included in ours too.
Huh. Interesting.
Very fascinating.
That is interesting and not something I thought of.
I have pound sign and dollar sign.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I know. Okay, but little things you would never think to think
No,
about.
you sure wouldn't.
I would like a British keyboard. Would that? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Make my life a lot easier.
Sure would.
the quotes key. I had no idea that they were different in this sense when I first moved to the UK. And I remember being in the computer lab in the university I was studying at, and it was so frustrating because every time I would go to type a particular key or symbol, it was always the wrong one. So that is the first difference.
Yeah, they're different.
That people
different
might not
places.
mention if you buy a laptop in the UK or a keyboard in the
I like
UK, some of the symbols are in different places. Okay, the next
All right.
difference has to do with eggs. So let's first talk about the fact.
Let's just pause this right here. I'm pretty sure we know everything about the egg thing. Have you learned about that a little bit?
A little bit. Not
Okay,
much.
so this might be more for you then.
Mm.
Okay.
That in the US, we are most used to seeing white shelled eggs. In the UK, you're mostly going to find brown ones. Now, the other thing that kind of goes along with
You
this
know that.
is in the US, we store eggs
In the fridge.
in homes and in the grocery stores or supermarkets in the refrigerated section. In the UK, you will not find the eggs in grocery stores in the refrigerated section. This is something that completely
What?
throws you off guard when you first move here and don't know to expect it, because you go up and down the aisles of the refrigerated section looking for eggs and wondering like why the supermarket doesn't have eggs, and then you find them like normally next to the bread in some of the supermarkets I've been into. There's also
What?
other
I'm
places.
sorry, I gotta pause this because you're cracking me up.
What?
So we already knew this. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or is it crazy that ours in the refrigerator? They didn't used to be here. They did not. Did you know
Really?
that?
I
Yep.
did not know that.
Yeah, ours did not used to be. Don't expect me to know the year of that. But
Mm.
but yeah, so I grew up eating a lot of farm fresh eggs. You can still get brown eggs in the
I
US.
did too.
Yeah. You can
can.
get them here.
I don't like them. I like my white eggs.
She's weird.
It's just what I'm used to.
I prefer the farm fresh brown eggs over the white ones. They just
I do
taste better. But is this blowing your mind?
That's crazy.
No, but hear why. I think she'll explain why. Then I think maybe you'll think it's crazy the other way around. This is great.
on the store. But I was so shocked the first time I found the eggs
Same.
unrefrigerated next to the bread. And the reason for this is there are different processing techniques from the farm to the grocery store, depending on the country. They leave on the protective layers here in the UK. That basically means that there is little chance of the bacteria or something going wrong with the egg not being refrigerated. In the US, there's a really intense like washing system that actually strips the eggs of this protective coating, which means that it then is safer to leave them in the fridge. I'm not completely up to date on different food processing techniques, and so I'm
Me neither.
not saying one is better than the other, but the countries do it differently. And because they do it differently, it means that the eggs can be stored or have to be stored in different ways. We actually, some of our eggs like on the counter and some of our eggs in the fridge, which I don't really know why we do that here in our house. But if you go into a British grocery store, do not look for the eggs in
They're in the bread aisle
section.
I will not look
The
there.
next difference has to do with couponing culture. So if you've lived in the US or you know about the US or you've seen the show on TLC like Extreme Couponers,
That's a
you
show?
might know
Really?
that in the US we are a very coupon driven society when it
true.
comes to consumerism. So we just
That's
always
my
like
mom's
a coupon.
best hobby.
We always like getting a deal, and it's not just
Can I say something? That's also a very Midwestern thing. When someone compliments you, you have to say
Coupons.
that you got it with a very good discount.
Yes.
I find it to be a really self-deprecating thing to say too.
just like at the grocery store when something is naturally on sale, but we clip coupons. So different brands send out coupons. So you might get like $2 off a certain brand at any store that you go to. And so a lot of people in the US are used to like bringing their coupons to the checkout counter and getting deals. People get like their entire grocery shopping cart for very little money.
It's true.
This is the whole thing that people spend their time on doing. And just as a society, we are used to the idea of coupons.
I'm just going to interrupt for just a second. So this video is 2 years old. I don't know if she still lives in the UK, but now it's not clipping anything. It's virtual. It's downloaded digital on your phone. You just walk up here, done. A lot faster, a lot easier.
Yes.
But still the same idea, right?
Same idea.
Here in the UK, really not
interested.
the case. There are deals on things. You might go into the grocery store and something is marked down,
So no
or there's
coupons?
like a clearance sticker on it, or there's just like a natural promotion that the store is running. But the idea of like a coupon book definitely is not in the UK. You wouldn't really clip coupons. Like I'm trying to think of instances where I've had to
That would
present
break my
anything to
grandpa's
get a
heart.
deal. Like there might be, but in general, the couponing culture of the US is not replicated in the UK.
I'm shocked.
Fascinating.
That is very interesting to know.
It's just such a big deal here, like she said, you know. And now again, not as much as it used to be because it's all virtual.
Right.
But like my mom would spend the whole week working on this crap for the
Yes.
big Saturday, go to the all 3 grocery stores,
Yep.
and be gone for 7 hours.
Yes.
God bless her, I
You
miss
have
her.
to go to this store and that store just because one has it on sale and you have a
And they're
coupon.
taking double coupons today at this store.
Exactly.
And the idea of like buying a book specifically full of coupons to use at various places, 100% not a UK sensibility. Another difference are the places that people travel to. So it goes without being said, different countries are going to be closer or further to different destinations. Obviously, in the US, I think we mostly travel within the country. And when we do travel outside of the country, popular destinations would be Canada, Mexico, and Western Europe, so coming to the UK. In the UK, people do travel to the States. Also, European travel is popular, but there are places that a lot of people have traveled here that
Spain.
I have never met anybody who had been there before in the US. Places like Thailand. It's really popular here to travel to Thailand. It's a beautiful country, really cheap, and if you take a survey of kind of your neighbors or your friends here in the UK, somebody is going to know somebody who's been to Thailand, who's gone to Thailand, or who has a trip planned. In the US, this is definitely not a destination that's really on our cultural radar in terms of...
I'm going to interject. I think that depends on your social circles and who you know. I
Definitely.
just had a friend who just came back from Thailand right before Christmas. Like I think he got back here the day before Christmas. I know at least a dozen people that have been to Thailand. I know people that have been to, everywhere.
I think Americans have, in the past few years, really started to take more, I would term it exotic, I guess, going to Thailand.
International.
More international, more of the countries that have not been popular, but in the past few years.
But again, I go back to, I still think it's also your social circles, things
Most
like
definitely.
that.
Most
Age too,
definitely.
she seems to be sadly younger than us. Again, you know, our country is monstrously big and we have so much. So a lot of us do want to stay here and check it out and see different places. So I think it just depends on your circle, your age range, things like that,
Most definitely.
you know, financial situation, etc.
You know, being able to take a poll and easily finding someone who has gone to Thailand. There are other countries like that. I think I've met more people in the UK who have gone on vacation or holiday to India than in the US, and just some other like Asian destinations as well. And again, this is down
Closer,
to
right, too,
differences
so that makes
in
it easier.
geography and
Unfair.
how close or far things are, as well as just the fact that, again, a lot of Americans, if they're going to travel abroad, they're coming here to the UK or somewhere in Western Europe. The UK, they're going elsewhere. So that was another difference I noticed in terms of being able to chat to people about their vacations and where they had been.
Makes sense.
On the topic of vacations, let's talk about travel insurance, because this is another difference. And a lot of people that I've talked to in the UK don't realize the lack of travel insurance knowledge or culture in the US. Not that travel insurance is like a culture, but as a culture, we don't really get travel insurance. A lot of people haven't even heard of travel insurance. I am pretty sure I had not heard of travel insurance before I moved to the UK. Here in the UK, and I think in a lot of Europe, it's like you go on a trip and you get yourself some travel insurance. It's just considered a standard part of going on vacation or going on holiday, as they say in the UK. That is definitely not a thing for Americans. And I was looking at some articles about this and some hypothesis about why this could be. Certain things of Americans are so optimistic, so we think that nothing is going to go wrong.
I was going to say that. I'm like, I've heard of it. I know it exists. I don't think we think about it.
Like I said, I've never heard of it before learning about this.
Really?
So I haven't.
Really?
We always drove places.
Yeah.
To
That would make a
vacations.
difference.
Well, that's why, and then that's it. You just nailed it. Again, if you're staying more within this country, of course you don't even need it.
Right.
You don't even need it. So Ryan just answered why that is. Unless you're thinking about going over the pond, then perhaps. There you go, Ryan. Thank you for that.
Light bulb moment.
Should plan for it. Things like, again, a lot of Americans are only taking trips domestically, so even though it does make sense, something could still go wrong from your trip to Texas to Montana. We don't really think of it in terms of a risk. Obviously, people do think of it more when they travel abroad. So in the UK and in Europe, when it is much more popular to leave your country, then that kind of comes into play more.
Which makes sense.
And it's just
Absolutely.
something that in the States, people do get it. I'm not saying that it's not a thing. I'm just saying that it is definitely not as popular or considered a necessity in the way it is in the UK. The next difference has to do with banking, and I talked about banking in another video, but I want to talk about these card readers. So
That's
this
not a calculator.
is a device
That's a
from
calculator.
Barclays, which is a personal card reader. So if I were to log into my Barclays account, which I actually don't have anymore, and this is an old one, but I think you can use them across banks anyway.
That looks like a calculator.
But it basically can help you log into your account. A lot of accounts nowadays will require a multitude of options, but one of them will be you can log in by putting in some details and using your card in the card reader. You click identify.
Hold on.
I just looked up and saw Ryan's face going, what the?
So when I want to get into my account, I get on
I
my
go
phone,
online.
or I go
Yeah.
to the bank.
I call Debbie and be like, hey.
So
How
you're
much money's
telling
in
me
there?
this little thing that looks like what we use as a calculator.
We have card
Slip
readers.
your card in there, and you do your bank stuff.
Do we not have these, Debbie?
I have not seen one. The only thing I'm thinking is maybe it has like secure coding so that when you're online with it.
Please
that
help
maybe
us in
it's
the
more
comments.
secure.
This is very new.
If you remember when I had my business account, I had that one little thing.
Right. But that was
randomly
different.
Generate a code. But
That was totally different, though.
yeah.
That was a key fob.
Yeah.
Here's a little fact about Debbie y'all don't know. She went to university. I said to university, not
She
college.
did go to university.
For accounting.
I didn't know that.
I did.
This is why Debbie is my personal, what is that thing she said? What's it called?
Card reader.
Card reader?
I'm
Either.
interested to learn more
All right, I'm
about
gonna
it,
shut
what
up.
it does.
I'll shut up now.
Your PIN into this personal card reader. It says, yes, that's correct. And it gives you a code that you then put in your online account to let you in. We don't have these in the US. We obviously have card readers when it comes to stores having a card reader for someone to pay. But the idea of having a personal card reader is 100% a difference between the countries. When I go to log into my US.
Is that like the key fob thing?
That
It's exactly the
sounds like what
same.
is-
So we do have that.
So it also kind of reminds me of the security questions that you get asked at the bank.
Yes, but this is more random and more spur of the moment. Like that
Huh.
code changes. You only have like a minute to use it. Or
Yeah,
5
but doesn't
minutes.
that also show you the information on that little reader or no?
Doesn't sound
No,
like
it said like you still have to log into your information.
Yes.
Okay, so we do actually have
And
okay,
it gives you
okay.
a second code to like
Gotcha.
back up.
But you
So-
carry it around with you.
Yeah, and Debbie had one that was about yay big.
Yeah, just attached to a keychain.
It was like a little oval.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't still have that, do you?
No.
You know, on your keychain, and the code would reset every so often, right?
Yeah, that was only for a business account. Any personal account
Ooh.
doesn't have that.
Are you sure?
I
was saying-
none of our personal accounts have that.
I don't
It's the
have
same
one
bank.
for mine either.
This is going to start a serious argument with us. We're going to have to be like, wait, why don't we have this? Call the bank tomorrow. Hello? Get a hold of
Find out
London
more.
and
We
talk
need
to them.
know.
US bank accounts. There is no card reader involved. It is not an option. It's not a thing that we are used to.
For business
in the
accounts, it
US.
is.
Now, I said I wasn't going to talk about driving on different sides of the road, which I'm not, but I am going to mention another difference between the UK and the US, which is the use of roundabouts. So in the US, I think...
Before she even starts, I'm going to address this subject right now. Okay? Right now.
Right now.
We do have roundabouts in this country. And I'm not saying she's not going to say that, but in Cincinnati, we have them. In fact, we have more and more every freaking week, do we not?
Absolutely.
I can't even tell you how many there are from here to like the next, I don't know, 5 miles. A lot. Now, I'm thinking that's probably the magic roundabout in Swindon. Okay, we don't have that.
No,
but
thank goodness.
But we do have quite a few. And again, it depends where you live. Like, we're not a huge city by any means, but still, we have a lot of them, and more pop up all the time. So I hear a lot of Americans, we don't have roundabouts. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
They help the flow of traffic. I love them.
I don't trust other drivers. That's all.
Yeah.
We call them like traffic circles in some places, but basically instead of having traffic lights and 4-way stops, here all of the junctions, or what we would call intersections in the US, are basically run by roundabouts, and that means that there is a pretty steady, constant flow of traffic. It's obviously not always going to be your turn, but if the traffic is clear, you go. As opposed to the US, where you can all be sitting at like 4 traffic lights.
True story.
And they're all red, and you're like, what is going, when am I going to get to go?
You get the
that
sensor.
wouldn't happen here in the UK.
True story.
And a lot of people do think roundabouts are a superior traffic solution. However, I feel like they only make sense in a country that understands what to do with them. There was a really small traffic circle or roundabout that I remember from growing up that was like outside of a Target near my house. And nobody had a single clue of what to do with it. People just drove straight over the middle, thinking that it was kind of just there for fun. So if roundabouts, and I do know that there are places in the US with roundabouts, but if they were to become more a part of
they're becoming a
country's,
lot more popular.
Traffic patterns, we definitely have to do some education for the Americans, because we are just not used to that kind of traffic system. I also feel like roundabouts really make sense in a country where you don't have a gridded system. The roads are just all over the place, weaving in and out, and so putting in a roundabout I think is probably a little bit easier than dealing with in the US, especially where I'm from. Maybe not so much in the Northeast, but in a lot of places in the West and in the South, we have just straight gridded lines that intersect each other. And so we kind of think of the 4-way traffic light system making more sense.
And I agree with that.
And the last difference I have to talk about is the difference between American and British sensibilities about plants and garden center. So hear me out. So here in the UK, they have what they call garden centers. And this is basically a place that you can buy plants, like garden decor or gardening supplies. But also there tend to be other things sold there. So having a gardening center, they usually have like a cafe that serves lunch and snacks and tea.
You can literally walk to one of those from our house right now.
Right.
That is very true.
Literally. You can walk to one of those from our home. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's funny.
There can also be other things sold within the garden center that aren't even related, like clothes or something like that.
Not clothes.
And there is a cultural fascination with garden centers. When we were in lockdown in the beginning of this whole situation, that was one of the things that were first to open before everything else. Obviously, people could only do stuff outside and they wanted to garden and stuff. But I just thought that was so funny. There is such a cultural love, especially in certain areas, for garden centers. Now, when you compare that to the US, and the reason I bring this up as a difference is obviously you can buy plants in the US. We would call it a nursery.
That's true.
Yeah.
And not for children, for plants. So in the UK, nursery is for children. But we would call it a nursery. And that would be to go and buy plants. But that would pretty much be the only thing you do there. And it's more of a get in and get out situation. Obviously, you might explore, kind of walk around a little, but there's usually not going to be anything else to do. It's a place to buy plants. And it's not, there's no sort of cultural love for nurseries. They're just places to buy plants.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
I'm like, I think it is a cultural love because that's all you're doing there is looking at plants.
Right.
You're not eating and buying clothes. You're focused on the plants and what you're going to buy and design.
And even though I said there's a place like she showed at the front with the cafeteria and stuff that you can walk to from our home, thinking about it, that's the only one I know like that, actually.
With a cafe, yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, it depends on the region of the U.S. because
Yeah.
she said she's from the Northeast. Here in the Midwest, we're a big agriculture.
That's true.
Part of the country. So
A lot of farmland.
Very, very
that is
true.
very embedded. So I think that's part of the difference.
But it makes me happy to hear about the culture
Yeah.
over there being so
Very
strong
cool.
for that.
Yeah.
And we love looking at your plants. They're beautiful. Thank you.
They are.
Have, home improvement stores. So our version would be like Lowe's or Home Depot, but they also have those in the UK. It's called like B&Q is
Really?
an example of one.
I didn't know that.
So that also isn't really comparable to a garden center, even though they might have a garden section. They're still not a place that you would go and you could actually meet somebody for coffee. Mostly
Cool. That's interesting.
older
I need to see a video on
so
this.
No shade to you if you are a younger person who loves garden centers. It's just more of a cultural love and fascination here
I
with
find
garden
that
centers
interesting.
that we don't have in the US.
Well, that actually did not disappoint. There were things in here that we didn't know anything about, and that makes me really happy. Again, if you guys want to check out her videos and more of the content, in the description of this video is the link to her video. So please go give her some
Check her
love,
out.
because I really appreciated that list, and especially from someone who's been in both places, it's helpful. So anything surprise you there?
Oh, absolutely the egg thing, for sure. And I really admire the love for gardening centers.
Yeah.
Just the nature aspect.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't expect that.
Mine was the travel insurance stuff. I thought that was really quite interesting fact, along with the other ones. And I'm really glad that we did this one because we did get to hear some
Some new stuff.
new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, when you put in the same, most of the time when you're looking at culture stuff, you get a lot of the same stuff. People just kind of like regurgitate the same information to you. But then it's the everyday things. Like she showed us the, what's it called?
Oh, the code reader?
That thing. Card reader thing?
Card reader?
Yeah. Again, wouldn't know what that was. We thought we were both thinking it's a calculator. Just hearing new things, again, that are your everyday stuff that if you come up there, I didn't actually know where the eggs were in the
Me either.
grocery.
That's crazy.
So to know, okay, look for the bread. Like, that's helpful.
That is very helpful.
And let us know in the comments if you want us to try to find a nursery, that's American, your garden center in comparison to our nursery. Again, that's plants, not babies. I mean, it could be both, depending. And if you liked this episode, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. If you don't, it means you just don't like Ryan, and that's going to hurt her feelings and she'll cry.
Oh, don't hurt Ryan. Hit the like button.
Do it for Ryan. She's done so much for our channel, and it's happy. It's such a good time to have you on here and bring you in front of the camera for once.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and thank you guys for having me.
Have you had fun?
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely love to come visit the UK, and I want to make it a point to come to one of your guys' gardening places.
Ooh.
Very cool.
There's a lot to do, and now we've added too much more to our list, didn't we? But again, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Again, leave us a comment of things that you might have found interesting that you didn't know about us over here. Again, we do have roundabouts.
Yes, we do.
We really do.
So thank you for watching. As always,
Please love like jazz.
and be as strong as Tyson.
See you next time.
Bye.
See ya.